have returned to listening to CSC Talk Radio. This is Beth Ann. We're going to go right back to the phone lines with Daniel. We have Daniel Turner with us. Daniel, how are you doing?
Beth Ann, happy Friday to you. Great to hear from you.
Happy Friday to you. You've been everywhere, man. I'd say cross the Desert Bear, but you were in Alaska, so I can't say cross the Desert Bear, breathe the mountain air, and all that good stuff.
And then I was in New Mexico, so I was in the desert, too. So
you went. So this week, Daniel was supposed to be with us Tuesday, but he was in flight to Alaska and couldn't make it. They won't let him do that while he's on board the plane. And so he had to bow out, and it worked out real well because we had some phone issues, and we got Patrick Michael on that day. So it worked out real well, and I appreciate you helping us get him on the air. So I'm assuming Alaska was work and New Mexico was work. So what's going on?
It's all work. Well, the good news is that we are looking to hire some state directors. In just 1 year, we've been able to bring this organization to a place that I need additional help. And so I was in the States helping to secure funding and also look at talent and meeting with some folks who could potentially be our on-the-ground eyes and ears and hands fighting for rural America and energy workers. So it's really exciting to see my organization grow. And you're the one I have to thank for it on top of many others. And I will wait 2 weeks to thank you properly. You're a big part of that.
Yeah, I've been bragging about this 2000 show coming up on the 28th. And it's just I'm excited about it. I know, these guys that have been on the air like Rush Limbaugh and all them, I don't know if they even celebrate a number anymore. But I do. I celebrate every day. So, well,
as you should. It's a great accomplishment.
I feel very humbled and privileged to be a part of Power of the Future, and I want to give that website, powerofthefuture.org, powerofthefuture.org. We already have somebody here with a question or a comment because they had listened to the energy shows earlier, so I'm going to bring her on if that's okay. She has a beautiful name. Her name is Beth, and she's from Missouri. Beth, how are you today?
It's Betty.
Oh, it's Betty. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Well, that's a pretty name, too.
That's okay, Beth. And before I say anything else, congratulations on your upcoming celebration.
Thank you very much.
And it's good to hear that Daniel's back.
Yes.
He really was great on the show the last time I got to hear him. But I have one big question. Years ago, I'm an old lady, and years ago, I got into learning about how to keep our house warmer, and I found some really amazing books on passive solar, where you don't need fans, you don't need energy or any of that stuff. And I was telling somebody about it the other day, and there are no more books on it. They've all been taken from the libraries.
Seriously? That's interesting, isn't it, Daniel?
And the library, the college library even, where I go a lot, they looked on their special internet situations, and there are no more books being put out about passive solar. And I think that's amazing because we heat our farmhouse with it.
That is amazing. Wow. Well, congratulations to you for being able to do that. Go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, that's a great point for Dr. Michaels. I'd love to, someone with his 40 years of expertise would remember when that was an encouraged movement. And I'd love to, I will email him and ask him. We'll get you an answer, Betty, because that's a great question. Why is that no longer a feasible alternative?
Well, I think it's because nobody made money from it. I mean, I say it like it is.
And that's exactly right. But you made money on it because you saved money on it.
Yeah, tremendously. And, the thing is that a lot of people don't realize how really easy that is.
Betty, what's the name of the books? Or do you have one name? Can you think of one name?
I don't have them anymore. I got them from the library and, of course, returned them.
Oh, okay. I thought you owned them. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, my kids were small, and it was just me and them at the time.
Okay.
And I was trying desperately just to
save it up,
just to make a living and pay the utilities and all that good stuff. But I was amazed because they are no longer in the libraries.
Very interesting.
Well,
yeah.
Well, thank you, Betty. I will email Dr. Michaels and see if I can get an answer for you. But I tend to suspect you are correct. Since no one was making money off it, it was discontinued.
And
well,
and we're going to have Dr. Michaels back on. I don't have him booked yet, but he agreed to come back on. I had questions I didn't get to ask him because I had so many callers, which was fantastic. But
I could listen to him all day because he's right on about so many things I've studied.
I agree.
And it's just amazing, and I really appreciate that he's letting people know the truth about things because they need to know.
And we need to know both sides of the story, and we can be, they act like we're not smart enough to figure things out. So we need to know both sides, I think. So I appreciate it, Betty. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here, Daniel, and thank you, Beth Ann, and congratulations ahead of time.
Thank you very much, Betty. I appreciate that.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bless you. Thank you. Daniel, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? It doesn't make any sense when you think about here they want everybody to save all this energy and da-da-da-da-da, and then they discontinue a viable way. Exactly.
And Betty raises a great point about how it saved money and how it was good for her and her situation. And as I've said many times in your show, we don't oppose any form of energy, renewable or likewise, where they make sense and where they're not subsidized by the government. But in a situation like Betty's, if it makes sense, that's a welcome way for people to save money. But if I can give you a quick funny anecdote that's happening now about wasting money. So we just wrote about this on our website, powerthefuture.com. And I'm sure Dr. Michaels would get a chuckle out of this. To highlight the dangers of climate change, Michael Bloomberg's foundation, and I've beat up Michael Bloomberg a lot for being, $50 billion of kind of energy stupidity. But Michael Bloomberg's charity has commissioned an artist to bring over 100 tons of ice from Greenland, and it is now on display in London where this ice is melting. So think of the logistics of bringing 100 tons of ice from Greenland to London to prove that ice melts. This is not a serious person I can listen to on climate change, because the amount of fossil fuels he had to burn to prove that ice melts is just comical and laughable. And to think that there are people in London right now gathering around this sculpture of ice melting. And imagine those people in Greenland with chainsaws and axes and picks getting 100 tons of ice saying, what are we doing with this ice? We're going to send it to London. Stupidity, Beth Ann. It's pure stupidity.
I made a snowman. I'm going to ship him to you. We're going to go back to the phone lines. We have Joy from Idaho, I believe, and she has a question or a comment on electric grid. Joy, how are you today?
I'm doing good. Beth Ann, I just heard y'all talking about electricity, I believe. They're saying that the Chinese may take our electric grid down.
Okay, you're talking about EMP.
Alternatives.
We're talking about EMP attack. Okay, go ahead, Daniel. Do you have a comment on that?
No, I mean, electromagnetic pulses are a serious threat from a terror perspective. I'm not an expert at all in that type of warfare. That's more of a security question. Mm-hmm. But those types of issues do explain why we need to be energy independent and why we need to be resilient in our forms of energy. Because if a foreign agent could destroy us that way, and God forbid we were depending upon other countries for our energy, it's a huge threat. So not really an expert on it, but it's something to be concerned about.
My mentor, Derry Brownfield, and he'd been talking about those attacks for a long time. And I just had an article a week ago, I think it was, Joy, maybe you heard me talk about it, that some of the high-ups in the military now are acknowledging that this is a problem and this is a threat and we need to do something about it. And, us conspiracy theorists, conservative guys, we've been talking about this for a while, concerned about it. And my brother's a Marine from Nam, and he says, I don't think the military should use any of that. They need to go back to paperwork. So, I don't know, That's a little extreme, but Joy, it is something we need to be very concerned about. And take care of that. We're going into a break. Joy, thank you for your call. Daniel, do you want to stick around and have some fun, or do you want to go? You haven't been home much.
I do want to have fun, but I got to go. I got to catch up on some stuff. You have a great weekend, Beth Ann, and thanks to your caller.
We'll see you next week. All right. You're listening to CSE Talk Radio. It is Free for All Friday. My question for the day, who really is the authoritarian around here? Is it the President of the United States, or is it Congress? 877-895-54